Before we begin, imagine this. A quiet rural town, a forgotten barn at the edge of a dark forest, and a girl who was never supposed to open that door. But when she did, she discovered a man inside the barn who knew her name, even though they had never met before. Who was he? Why was he hiding there? And what terrifying secret connected them both? Stay with me until the end because this story takes a shocking turn that nobody sees coming. And if you love mysterious thriller stories like this, make sure to subscribe right now, because the stories on this channel only get darker, deeper, and more unbelievable from here. Now let's begin. The wind howled across the empty fields as 17-year-old Emma Walker stepped off the dirt road and onto the narrow path that cut through the tall grass toward the old barn. The sky above the countryside of northern England had turned the dull gray color that always came before a storm, and the distant rumble of thunder rolled across the hills like a warning. Most people in the small town of Ashford Hollow avoided this place after sunset. The barn had been abandoned for nearly 20 years, and rumors about it had grown darker with every passing season. Some said it was haunted. Others claimed criminals had used it as a hiding place. But Emma had never believed in rumors. What she believed in was curiosity, and curiosity had led her here tonight. She had not planned to come here originally. In fact, the entire evening had started as something completely ordinary. Emma had been walking home from her part-time job at the small grocery store near the town center, the same route she had taken hundreds of times before. But tonight something felt different. As she passed the dirt road that led toward the farmland, she noticed something strange in the distance. A light. The barn had no electricity. Everyone in town knew that. Yet tonight a faint yellow glow flickered inside it. At first Emma thought it might be a trick of the storm clouds, maybe lightning reflecting off the broken windows. But the light did not flash. It stayed there, steady, moving slightly, like the glow of a lantern. And that was when her curiosity won. Now, as she pushed through the tall grass and approached the barn, the old wooden structure creaked loudly in the wind. The doors hung half open, swaying slowly as the storm grew closer. The smell of wet earth filled the air. Emma stopped a few feet from the entrance. Her heart began beating faster. Someone was definitely inside. For a moment she considered turning around and walking back toward town. But then she remembered the stories. Kids at school always talked about the barn. Some claimed they had dared each other to go inside at night. Others said strange noises came from it after midnight. No one had ever proven anything. Until now. Emma stepped closer. The lantern light flickered again, casting long shadows across the wooden walls. Then she heard something that made her freeze. Footsteps. Someone moving slowly inside the barn. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Her first instinct was to run, but something about the movement inside did not sound threatening. The footsteps were slow, uneven, almost like someone pacing while thinking deeply. She leaned forward slightly and pushed the old door open just enough to look inside. The sight she saw made her entire body go still. A man was sitting on a wooden crate in the center of the barn. He looked to be somewhere in his early 40s, though the dim lantern light made it difficult to see clearly. His clothes were worn and dusty, and a dark beard covered most of his face. A large backpack rested on the ground beside him. But what made Emma's stomach twist with unease was the way he was staring at the lantern flame, as if he had been waiting for something, or someone. Suddenly the door creaked louder under Emma's hand. The man looked up. Their eyes met. For a few seconds neither of them spoke. Emma felt her pulse racing as the stranger slowly stood up. He did not look angry. He did not look surprised. Instead, he looked relieved. And then he said something that made Emma's blood run cold. "Emma," the man said quietly. "How long did it take you to find me?" The girl's mind went completely blank. She had never seen this man before in her life. Yet somehow, he knew her name. Emma took a step backward. "How do you know who I am?" she asked, her voice trembling. The man studied her face carefully, as if confirming something he had been unsure about. Then he let out a slow breath. "So it really is you," he murmured. "Just like the photo." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. "What photo?" The man hesitated. For a moment it seemed like he was debating whether he should say something. Then he reached into his backpack and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it up toward the lantern. Emma's heart nearly stopped. It was a photograph of her. Not a recent one. The picture looked like it had been taken years ago, when she was maybe 12 or 13 years old. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. Where did you get that? The man did not answer immediately. Instead he walked slowly toward her. Emma felt panic rising inside her chest. But then he stopped a few feet away and raised both hands slightly, as if trying to show he meant no harm. You weren't supposed to find me yet, he said quietly. That means things are happening faster than I expected. Emma shook her head in confusion. What are you talking about? The man looked toward the barn door, where the wind was now blowing harder as the storm approached. Then he said something that would change Emma's life forever. You're in danger, he said. And if you stay in this town tonight, they're going to find you. Emma stared at him. Who is going to find me? The man's expression darkened. The same people who made sure your parents disappeared. For a moment the world seemed to stop. Emma's heart pounded violently in her chest. My parents died in a car accident, she said slowly. The man shook his head. No, he replied. They were murdered. The lantern flame flickered wildly as thunder cracked across the sky. Emma's mind raced. Everything she had believed about her past suddenly felt uncertain. And the stranger in the barn seemed to know the truth. But before Emma could ask another question, something unexpected happened. Outside the barn, headlights suddenly appeared on the dirt road. Bright white beams cut through the darkness and swept across the field. The man's face instantly turned pale. They're here already, he whispered. Emma's heart dropped. Who? But the man was already moving quickly, grabbing his backpack and blowing out the lantern. The barn plunged into darkness. Then he grabbed Emma's wrist. Listen to me carefully, he said urgently. If you want to stay alive, you have to trust me. And outside the barn, the sound of car doors opening echoed through the storm.